is the thought that you see many technically superior people around you, and many more amazing guys who have some very good quality innovation. But it's so sad that they cannot take that innovation and show it to the world. Figure out with the technology I have today, can I create a different use case? And that gives me great confidence, energy to move forward.
So you used your own tool for your own marketing, and that's how you landed
Yes.
your customers, not from your network. Hello and welcome to our podcast, guys. Today we have Sanju Burkule with us. Welcome to our podcast, Sanju. How are you doing today?
Excellent. Thanks, Ayush. Thanks for this opportunity.
Okay, wonderful. Why don't we start with some basic introduction, Sanju? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm Sanju Burkule, and I'm basically from Pune. Did my computer science by accident. In 12th, I didn't have that good grades, and basically ended up doing computer science, but that was like a boon in disguise. Then later on, once you were in the computers in the early 90s, then everything else was automatic. The US story, going to US, coming back, and stuff like that. So so after looking into US life and the luxuries of Indian life, I decided to come back and stay in India, which buys you a lot more with less money, and so which may be difficult for many to understand. But the freedom that I feel over here is awesome. So I came back and then worked in BMC software for 10 years, understanding data centers before starting my first startup. But basically from computer science, also did my MBA, understood basics of management. As I was a senior director in BMC software, I was and a technical guy, basically automation guy. I wanted to understand if whatever management things I'm doing, is it right or not. So the MBA really helped me to know that yes, whatever I was doing was reinforced that it's the right thing to do.
Wonderful. Thank you for such a lovely intro. Now, why don't you, for our listeners, tell me a little bit about your company?
Yeah, so currently I'm running Applied AI Consulting, which is the current wave. And as you know, as founders, we have to figure out the trends in the market and ride the waves. And within that, you can apply AI to multiple different parts of businesses. I focus on the B2B space. And so one of those angles is a product called 7Targets. It's a SaaS product where we're applying AI to sales-related day-to-day work.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more about 7Targets? What 7Targets is? What 7Targets does?
So, at my heart, I'm an automation guy for the past 30 years plus, focusing on automation. But recently, as you can see that based on data, you can also do intelligent stuff. Since 2015-16, you could see the wave of AI. So it gives basic human-like capabilities to software and to reading capabilities, reading, writing, which we call literacy in. So reading, writing is one part of it. Then analyzing things and taking a decision based on data. Wherever data, there is the word intelligence attached to it. So 7Targets is focused on how can it use the data that a particular sales team is looking at and convert that into intelligent decisions based on the analysis. And the reading, writing capabilities, which have been evolved in these past 5-6 years, are used in can be now automated in the sales process. So sending emails, receiving emails, reading those emails, taking an action. These are basic jobs at a generic level, which now can be automated. And sales can now write better quality emails instead of looking at performance of people, low performing people, high performing people. Can you have a basic average great quality performance level using AI? That is where 7Targets is headed. to provide very good quality foundation to sales departments in different companies.
Right, right, wonderful. So आपने इसके पहले बताया था कि you have started your first startup. So is this your first startup, or before this did you start something else as well?
So this is our in the 90s. I had accidentally started my first company while I was doing my bachelor's in computer science, second year, third year, MCS. So people who were purchasing computers, they were not aware that you have to write software for it. So some of them came to me because I was learning software. So that was an accidental way of creating startups that time. I didn't know that I had a startup, but I was having customers, paying customers. Kester Road Lines Private Limited was my first customer. I remember that day. So those were, and then it continued to grow through word of mouth before I went into my normal job related stuff. But when I understood startups, and I wanted to personally do startups, that was in 2013, where OPEX software we had already seen in BMC global 2000 companies, how they run their data centers. And we all could see the trend of everybody shifting to the cloud. That was the trend that time. And the second trend was DevOps. So we married those two trends, and with the automation background and the DevOps trend and the cloud trend, we put together a company called OPEX Software, OPEX.
Okay.
And that's how to automatically help people to do deployment automations for various different things, how to do test automations, how to create pipelines. So that was the main central theme of OPEX. So there is a CapEx, which was the old way of doing things, where you decide capital expenditure for your entire year, how many computers you're going to buy, etc. And then the cloud era came, where it was okay, but per month how much you need, you pay only that much. So that is the OPEX part of it. Operating expense, can you change your entire way of doing things by using the operating expenses budget? So that's what OPEX was.
Right. So what happened to OPEX software?
OPEX grew very fast. We were just lucky there that the timing was right, and our experience was right. We had 10 years is a very long time in data center space, and that helped us to understand, okay, we are shifting applications to the cloud for so many companies. So working with large customers also gave us a very clear background of what exactly does it take. And so that company grew very well. And eventually it was purchased by Hitachi Vantara, and from San Jose in 2017, we had that acquisition. So it was an amazing exit. Super happy about that experience. So yeah.
So what would you attribute your success at OPEX software to? Like what did you do different that you grew so fast?
I think I just focused on my strengths. Focusing on strengths is something that many people don't do.
This is a generic answer. I want what you did specifically.
My were on what is a data center, and monitoring something I did for 6-7 years. Then changing stuff in the servers. So that I understood. So I worked on these strengths. I used the latest technologies that time, which in DevOps were Chef was one of the technologies. HashiCorp was another company which came out with Terraform technology. And then Ansible was the third technology. So these technologies with Jenkins pipelines. So I looked at the market on what are these open source way was just is completely booming. So I put these things together in the least possible cost to give the maximum benefit to the same customers, to help them migrate from traditional technology to newer set of technologies at a super low cost. And that was so how to apply requires the experience in that industry which I had. So that's how that came together.
Wonderful, wonderful. Lovely to hear that. Now coming back to 7Targets, how did you come up with the idea of 7Targets?
So 7Targets is a very personal experience, where my first company, as I said, I'm a techie and an automation guy at heart. Automation is something that is always going to work, whether it's traditional tools or what we call today. But when I was doing the sales for my own first company, we realized many issues. We had hired senior marketing people, we had hired sales people. Sales and marketing are two very different animals, and CRMs are just like a blown up Excel sheet. And I could not, there was no automation in the CRMs. It was a structured, organized way of saving things, but there was no relationship management. Customer relationship management requires, relationships are managed when you're keeping in touch with people.
Right.
This basic aspect was not done. It is not done by CRMs even today. Okay. CRMs just save your data. They don't manage relationships. They give you the ability to manage relationships, but they don't manage relationships. I want to create a real CRM and put it on. Just the angles that are missing right now in these CRMs is how to keep in touch with people at scale. And that's what 7Targets is. We started automating a lot of these functions in our while we were doing running OPEX software to keep in touch with thousands of people. I didn't see any senior person really managing all relationships. They were managing very month by month relationships. In those months, whatever is the hot leads, warm leads, you're trying to close them. But what about the leads 1 year back? Okay.
Right.
If some leads don't close today, are you going to keep in touch with them after 1 year? So those things of relationship management are not done by anybody. It is not possible for humans to do that at scale. And that's what that's how this AI assistants concept was born, because the AI trend was catching on. We saw that now you can do these reading and writing stuff, relationship management. I was doing in a particular way, and I saw there is an opportunity to automate it. So this is how 7Targets was has evolved to automatically reply, automatically send brochures to people. So that was one of the most alarming things that I don't see in HubSpot, in Salesforce. In sales, the basic question is, can you even send people ask, say, please send me your brochure. Now, can this not be automated in 2022? This is means how unevolved is the rest of the space in sales in AI. So that's where we come in to just do some basic things which can be done automatically. Those should be done. It doesn't require that much intelligence.
So it has some unique features apart from the other tools that are in the market, right?
Yeah, the uniqueness is in natural language processing, in English language, how to basically that is the technology part of it, reading, writing. Then the next part is automated ways of keeping in touch, automated nurturing, and the core thing is about stories. So what we are recording here is my story, and when people read the story, they remember a story. And this is what I call, you're nurturing the startup ecosystem via this channel. And what we are doing is, every company has to tell their stories on how they have helped somebody else, how they have helped somebody else grow. And these stories is what the AI assistants tell to all the potential clients. That is a very core angle of sales. Not saying that buy us now, not pushing, but via telling stories what they have done to others and how they have benefited. So this is called the nurturing process, which is super important, which is not done in a disciplined and accurate way by 90% of sales guys, and that is what these assistants are supposed to help customers achieve. If you don't win a customer for because you don't have any social proof that you had the ability to help them, that is fine. Okay, but if you had the ability but you forgot to tell a story, means that is criminal. By not telling them a story, and you're losing sales, you're losing an opportunity just because you forgot to tell a story. So that is what the assistant can automate.
Of turning into a paid prospect, right? So coming back to the question, what were the exact steps to build it? How did you launch it in starting?
See, it is an evolution. So whenever I had the need, we started evolving. And my co-founder is Gunanand Nagar G. He's an IIT Delhi guy. So he's a techie. And whenever we faced issues that, hey, we are spending so much time, you have only two options on doing it. Either you hire more people or you automate it. And as a bootstrapped company, you don't have money. So you have a skill, you automate it, and automation has always uh, helped us grow faster. That is another amazing benefit. It is easier to sell. So it evolved along with our first company. Whatever issues we faced, we automated those. The steps were essentially, does a name like Sanju Burkule work when I'm getting responses from Dubai, from UK, and I would get less response rate. So with Siri and Alexas, these are all AI avatars that are coming. And then we thought, hey, why can't we create Ashley? Why not, right? Do we have to be an Apple to really create a Siri? So we created Ashley, we created Emma for UK, and we were able to get very good response rates.
Oh, wow.
So that's how essentially. So one aspect is the names on, do people feel comfortable working with a personality? So you create that kind of a basic initial avatar, and then you move ahead with the other things. Now somebody is asking you brochures, can you automate that? So that was the second step. So these were the steps in which we looked into that. Yes, it was useful for us, but when it came to, do you want to start a company around it, then you have to be more serious, because now you're going to put a few years and a significant amount of money. Now, the question is, were we the only people? That is a question I generally ask as an important step. We saw blockchain was moving ahead, and that's also amazing foundational technology. We saw other technologies as well. But the key question I ask is, are there others doing something similar? If I don't see anybody else, then that means I'm wrong. So this is how I see. I cannot be the only person in the world looking at a problem. So that is high chances that I'm wrong. So I looked at that. I saw a few companies who were into it. They had got funding also. So I generally prefer to be the third, fourth, fifth player in the market, because I know after me also there will be many more that will come, and then it would be a good market. But you don't want to put your bootstrapped money in educating the market. So the education is done by some others who have deeper pockets. So this is how. So that is the step of market validation, that some people are putting serious money into it. So that step was completed. Then looking at whether customers use it or not. So the initial screens were created, and people found it very exciting. The recruitment industry specifically, they found it really interesting, and so we thought, even if we get only in one particular industry, still this is worth a shot. So although we had ourselves use it for IT services, because we were IT service, OPEX Software was IT services company. And then we essentially looked into, yes, recruitment is, we may be able to grow faster and make a better segue in that market.
Right.
So those were the initial steps, that, okay, you have a product market fit somewhere, at least in one sector, and you're seeing somebody else putting money in that similar area. And you have the skills. So that is what helped us to move ahead.
Wonderful. So it is a ongoing process. You will evolve again whenever something new comes up, and the evolution continues on and on, right?
Yeah. See, the amazing thing which keeps us on our heels is reading a market is impossible. Just like you cannot read a stock market, you cannot read any of these markets. This is like the basics of where it starts.
Right.
The stock market is for evolved companies, but nobody knew COVID would happen. Nobody knew that the salaries of developers would go. The demand of developers, demand of people in general would go so high that salaries would go through the roof. And so that recruitment industry, which I was looking into, it relied on a premise that each recruitment, each placement agency would like to place people in some companies. So they would look for other companies. But as the demand for people grew, the companies started going to various different recruitment companies.
Right.
And so that market just evaporated. which was there for when COVID happened, and post-COVID, all these budgets started getting released, and huge demand was there in the market, and we saw that. So the company had to shift to another market as the recruitment market started drying down. So this is something that we could not anticipate. Then we shifted back to why we had created the software, which is for IT companies. So now IT companies, it's growing amazing there. It may shift again, but the ROI is there in all of these areas. The core foundational background that we have, which we don't realize, all companies in India, is you have access to Indian developers. And you can fight with the largest companies in the world with very less. Because you can talk in English, which is a great communication tool. You can be in a city. So I am from Pune, as I said, so which is huge access to developers. Now so many Indian cities have that. So these are foundational things which are power present over here, which most of the people don't realize who want to start a startup. They don't realize that their English is good, which is a clear asset, and they can easily get things done from India. Yeah.
Wonderfully said. Okay, so how many times did you pivot before this?
So pivot, yeah, our first pivot was as the recruitment industry went down. From my perspective, okay, that industry actually grew in a huge way because everybody was hiring and people were jumping. Everybody had 3-4 offers, and it was a crazy market till 3 months back. Okay, in these last 3 months now, again the industry is back on track from my perspective because there have been huge layoffs from Google, Microsoft, Indian startups, many layoffs everywhere. So now the salaries are again back on track what they were before. So now again people will start looking at, okay, who has open positions, things like that, as budgets have dried, inflation has gone up. So the pivots, recruitment industry will come back. The best thing about AI assistants is my assistants are ready. The code was ready. My sequence of messages and to how I keep in touch with each of these, that's already there. All I have to do is re-trigger that. My new segment, which I had pivoted to, was the IT segment, where companies do want large customers from many different countries, and you'll notice large companies have these local sales offices to talk in the local language, to give a local flavor, to tell local stories, and that is what the assistants really help. And this is amazing for IT companies, which is primarily export market. And that's how, so we pivoted to IT side of the house. And there are different readings from each segment. We'll see whether we want to pivot to other areas. Once we stabilize in one or two, then of course our speed of growth will be higher.
Right, absolutely. So Sanju, before this, I want to ask you, how did you find your first customer? How did you find your first paying customer?
So the paying customer, the first thing I think about is about the return on investment. Okay, how can I tell a customer that if they pay me X, I can give them 10X back?
Right.
Okay, this is the basic formula when I think of. So as I said, my first was recruitment industry specific. So in a country like India, you get Java developers for about 10 lakh rupees, and generally market would charge 8.3% on that. So when a recruitment company is earning by placing a Java developer, they get 83,000 rupees back because they placed the person. So that is their earnings. So my tool was about helping them to place more and more people in different companies. So within 3 months, even if they place one Java person, they get 83,000 rupees profit. And with my tool, they would do at least 8 to 10x of that number. So that's how I position the pricing. The positioning is very important to do before you land your first customer, how you position yourself and how you price yourself. So we position ourselves there at a sweet spot. If you're reaching out to a few hundred customers for a particular skill, will you be able to close one Java developer? Every company has multiple positions open.
Right.
And Java, C++, these are all hot skills. So If somebody says, no, I cannot even place one Java developer after looking at hundreds of clients, that means that company should not be in business. So nobody says no to that. So everybody says, yes, I can easily place one Java developer. So, and then we say, okay, this is going to be your earnings. And if that's the earning, then I charge you off that one person, you'll be able to place at least 30, 40 in a year. And you'll be able to earn, even if, to make calculations easy, even if they are earning 1 lakh rupees from a person instead of 83,000. So you are going, even if you close 10, you are going to get 10x back, and you are paying me only for this one assistant. So that's how it is. And this story, when somebody hears this, there is this is like a no-brainer, because the assistant is doing so much stuff automatically. Then we landed our initial few customers. So I wanted to be very sure that I don't use my connections to land my first customer.
Okay.
If I use my connections in a SaaS kind of a software, then you're building on existing relationships. SaaS is supposed to explode where you get customers from many different countries.
Right.
So it would not be truthful if somebody is believing Sanju and giving business because they know me. So we wanted to make sure we get customers based on the merit of the platform, and not so we just used our own sales assistant to hundreds of different recruitment companies and provide them the messaging, and we got responses.
Nice.
So that is how we landed. Yeah.
Nice. Amazing. So you used your own tool for your own marketing, and that's how you landed
Yes.
your customers, not from your network. This is the first time I've
Correct.
heard of it. Amazing. Amazing.
Yes.
So currently you have catered to how many customers?
We have a couple of hundred customers. I would have liked at least 1,000 plus, but we are where we are. Getting people to download your software is just first part of the major problem in SaaS. But getting them to use it after they have signed up is a completely different thing. And these are some of the challenges we have still not cracked. Partially we cracked. Earlier we were not even able to get traffic to our website, the marketing part. But now slowly that part we have learned how to do. And so now we have traffic. Then after traffic, you need to drive the people to the correct page to sign up after you are able to do your messaging properly. So then getting to a few signups every week, that looked like an impossible goal first, but now that is achieved. Now for the past more than 6 months, we are struggling with getting the signed up people to use. And so that usability part, everybody is from a different level. Getting that is absolutely, we have tried simplifications and many other things. So we will continue at it. If we crack that, then we'll be able to scale digitally.
Right. Sanju, what have you enjoyed most about starting your company?
The enjoyment is providing the market with absolutely affordable. Just the thought that you see many technically superior people around you, and many more amazing guys who have some very good quality innovation. But it's so sad that they cannot take that innovation and show it to the world.
Right.
The thrilling part of our journey is, can we provide that bridge, which is super affordable, to startups, to really new companies. If they have good quality, value-focused innovation, they should be able to reach out to a few thousand people easily, fast, and use their own words to do the reach out and get a few customers. We're not saying you have to get 10% of market share. Even if they get 1%, 0.5%, 2% of market share, they're going to make their initial journey successful. And many people just fail there because nobody teaches sales and marketing in schools, and people have issues there. So learning all the basics, the form of telling your stories, explaining stories to the market is is missing, and that's the thrill for me. Can I help? My initial goal was to help 150 companies when we had launched the company. So that goal we have reached. So awesome job there. But yeah, now the next is, can we just continue this, help any company anywhere to sell in the large markets, primary markets, to just make their innovation known. Okay, it gives me immense pleasure to provide that ability to the market in a very affordable cost. There are companies, as I said, when I did my initial research, there were companies, but some companies were charging $3,000 per month. It is nuts. We don't even charge $2,000 for the entire year. So I wanted to reduce the cost by 10x, and I wanted to increase the ability by 10x. So this is only then it's affordable for all to really gain access to the every corner of the world. Wherever there's innovation, they should be able to reach out. So that's our dream. So let's see how it goes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Sanju, one of the most memorable moments of your career.
Memorable moment is when we had landed this deal, which was the Department of Defense deal, which is US Pentagon. That was the most memorable. So it was the largest deal in the world, the largest cloud deal in the world. So that was on my previous company, of course. So that was absolutely jaw-dropping moment where we could never think that we could compete with the likes of Accenture and Infosys and all these and still win close to $1 billion deal in with that kind of competition. And it's just simply automation. Just focus on automating stuff. Now at least you have intelligence on top of automation. So, but if there is value, there is somebody who is going to really make use of it. And that was my biggest moment of winning that deal.
Wonderful, wonderful. So,
and it was, of course, thanks to all the team, etc., not just mine, but as a company where we had won that deal. Just to be very clear about that. But having your technology in, which is deployment automation technology, test automation technology, in the largest customer in the world is US Department of Defense. They have the highest spend in the world. So getting that is highly memorable.
Right. Wonderful. Wonderful. So knowing what you know now, would you have done some things differently?
Yeah, of course. You learn things. You can do things differently. So if we hiring somebody for making sure that the entire initial experience for a person is very smooth. There are many things which can be changed. So you learn every day, and of course I would do hundreds of things differently. Yeah.
Okay. Sanju, what is your definition of success?
Success, as in terms of monetary, in terms of monetary terms, yeah, in terms of different levels at different stages. So one is financial freedom. Achieving financial freedom, I would say, is one of the key cornerstones of life for people who are into jobs and stuff like that. Can you live without doing any work, just automatically, where money continues to flow in, which is called financial freedom. So that is one step which I call one important level of success. And the second part of success is just setting some I would say achievable goals, and then trying to deliver that. So we had set that goal, which I thought was very simple, like selling to 150 companies. But it took, but COVID hit and all these things happened, and that should have improved the speed because people wanted AI assistants during COVID, because assistants cannot get COVID, right? So these are AI assistants. So I thought it would improve the speed at which I would sell, but it did not happen. It still took us more time. So that was our. So I don't think in terms of very large goals, lofty goals. We have these smaller goals, which we achieve and then be happy about it.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, have ever had any, I've done it moments like, yes, I've done something.
Uh, so there are many uh, small things where we believe when customers tell us. So I don't look at me doing myself, me saying myself. That's absolutely everybody feels great about themselves. The thing is, do clients say things about you, and do they feel delighted? So when some of my clients just continue to refer us that hey, this tool is good, this tool is good, so that is where I feel and I believe that yes, we have achieved some level of penetration in this market where we have made this guy super happy. He's just crazy about us. So those are some things. So as a example, there is a company called Talent Corner. So they are the highest, one of the largest companies in India when it comes to recruitment.
Right.
So their number of franchisees, they started getting into franchisees from 2011 to 2020. Okay, October 2020. They had about 38 franchisees. Okay, when you look at their website and you see how many franchisees they had, with AI assistants, they could get to more than double the franchises in a single every year. Basically, they had 3 to 4 franchises every year. That was the growth when you look at the journey of that company.
Wow.
Here we were able to give them more than 20 franchises in a single year.
In 1 year
So
itself.
from in 1 year, so that kind of growth in a trajectory of established company
Right.
automatically makes us feel this is amazing. They got franchisee of the year award in at a India level, franchise franchiseindia.org. If you watch there, in 1 year, October 2020 to October 2021, they had grown in a huge way,
Wonderful.
and I was very happy to see that those guys won that award. So these are some of those nice moments.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Sanju, so what do you do in moments of confusion, in moments where you feel lost? What do you do?
Yeah, so every because running a startup has so many different angles to it, and you always are you're keeping your eyes open, observing the market, using the same technologies of email automation and then let's say SMS automation, WhatsApp automation. Can you link those 2 3 things and create a solution? So something as simple as so when I get lost, I try to go into the depth of a particular execution. So if somebody is running webinars, for example, in the webinar, you announce somewhere that, hey, I'm running this webinar. Then what you do is somebody registers. Now, as soon as they register, they get an email. And then when they get an email, they need to be reminded to join the webinar. Once they're reminded on 1 day before, then 1 hour before, on WhatsApp. So there are different touch points to keep in touch on a very, keep in touch even for a small amount of time through various mediums like email, WhatsApp, SMS. You require a solution. So when we see, oh, we have all these components, you can sell it differently, or even as a customer experience stuff. If somebody is looking into keeping in touch with all their existing customers, okay, each and every user of their product, how to keep in touch with them to help them tell them about the product. So this is also giving them knowledge at different levels based on their usage. So this also can be ordered. So when I get lost, I try to figure out with the technology I have today, can I create a different use case? And that gives me great confidence, energy to move forward.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Sanju, best investment you have ever made?
Best investment ever made is in in creating these assets. Okay, creating any functionality. So initially, when we had created this deployment automation or creating any automation, it is the best investment ever, because there are multiple ways to look at it. Either you can invest in the stock market, you can invest in the services for position. Let's say you are paying someone 1 lakh rupees per month, and now that person He's put on some X dollars per hour on some US project, and he's giving us 2 lakhs, double per month. So in the stock market, you cannot even get 15% in a year is considered good mutual funds in a year's time. Here in services companies, you are getting good amount of money back, at least 30-40% is easy per month, and that is amazing when you look at it from an investment perspective. But when you look at automation, where you are taking the people out of the equation,
Right.
that is always something that has excited me for many years. And because people are unpredictable, things happen to people, they are not always there. But technology, if you are able to automate it, that is there with you.
Right.
So when you create an automation technology and it is going to help hundreds of people just by using it, I love that kind of investment because it has the ability to scale. When it comes to software, it can scale extremely well.
Right.
So that is what we have invested in, and doing things intelligently is like icing on the cake, where it's not just automation, it's not just a process which has to be done faster.
Right.
It is, can the process adapt automatically? So that is just the next level. So investing in something like this, which is I just love that kind of investment, to create some intellectual property which can help people at scale.
Right. Wonderful. Sanju, one last thing about this. Do you focus on your mental health?
No, not specifically.
No, why not?
Because till now it has just given, I would say, whatever I need. So I don't have that great an IQ or something like this, but whatever I know, I'm able to convert things. So mentally, I believe that I'm at a very good stage, a very good stage.
Okay.
So I haven't focused on it.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right. Okay, so we are in the end game now. Last couple of quick questions. Is there something that I should have asked you but I didn't ask?
I think that work-life balance. Work-life balance. Generally, I see many interviews ask. So that's a very difficult one. I do believe that that for founders it has to be unbalanced, where work is everything. But once you achieve your whatever milestones you want, then after that life is everything. Then you have the complete luxury to focus on other elements. And so I see it in stages. In terms of a few years you work, and then a few years you can enjoy. You just have to try 2-3 times. Even if you succeed in one, then after that it is just imbalance towards the life part of it, where you can really enjoy life. So, but it is not a daily kind of a thing. Many people think of it daily. Can I balance work life? So I don't see it that way.
Okay. Sanju, what was the favorite part of the episode for you?
Favorite part is, I would have to the investment part. Where do we? What is the best way to invest your time and money? That I find as a very important, very important question. Many people who understand software for more than like 30 years now, like software has been in India for a long time. People don't understand the meaning of inventory, zero inventory. Okay, there is no inventory in software. You copy a software, you give it to another person, copy it, give it to another person. So unlike trucks or like any other commodity, if you are in that business, if you want to sell 2 trucks, you need that much material. And so ability to scale in any other business is super limited. Here you can create copies as fast as you want. Anybody can download exactly when they want. Immediately a copy of a licensed property, intellectual property, goes to them. So this is something many people don't realize, that you create something once, you can deliver to thousands of people across the globe. So there is no distance in software. If you want to sell it to someone in Mars tomorrow, you can do that. That is that there's this power of no physical limitations because the internet is already there. So these are few aspects which I find many people just immediately cannot get it, and so they continue to do this as a service. They're giving a service for someone else delivering something manually, which is sold only once. They get one-time payment for it. But the guy who gets that software is selling it to thousands of times. So it's like getting the initial templates done. So that way, when it comes to investments, you would love to create things that can multiply later, correct? It's a multiplication. In maths, you have addition, right? A plus B, and then you have A multiplied by B. Here you get a multiplier effect, and at no time because it can be downloaded. So this is the core thing which drives the investment question, or where would you like to invest? When this interview is there, it is going to be 1,000 people can see it, 10,000 people can see it, or 2 people can see it, but you don't have to put any other effort. That magic of showing it to 10,000 people or showing it to 2 people is done by the software. That is magical.
Wonderful.
That is magical, which was not there 20 years back. Now it is there. So these are things which are exciting to me. So that was one of the best questions. Okay.
Wonderful. Where can our listeners know more about you and more about your work? Are you active on LinkedIn? Are you active on Twitter, Reddit, some other platforms?
I'm active on WhatsApp, and but I'm not scalable on WhatsApp. I don't have an AI assistant created which can answer most of the questions for people. But generally LinkedIn, I'm there sometimes. But generally I'm not active on social media.
Okay.
I'm not that active on social media at all.
Okay.
Whoever is around me, I generally just spend time with them.
Okay. So for our last 2 questions, for our budding entrepreneurs, what is the perfect startup recipe?
Yeah, so the important thing is very simple. Is there a need in the market which you are delivering at a reasonable cost? Correct. You're creating something for a particular market. So that's called the product market fit angle of it.
Right.
So create something which is, at least if you are going to provide this bigger value, can you start with something very, very, very important for them at a affordable cost, and then grow instead of trying to create the whole thing at once. So that is central to any startup. So is there a market fit or not? Many people create something and then try to sell, which I find as a major money burner. You'll run out of cash quickly. So create something very small and deliver it to someone without a lot of education related money spent. If you're going to educate the market about something, you may not have the cash to do that. Then you're going to head into a stormy kind of environment. So see if somebody else is doing it. So as a precursor, if you're the only one in the world doing it, either you are Google or you may be crazy. So there are those two extremes, and so I would say, so check if others are doing it, and understand the foundational benefits of India as such. Fundamental benefits of India: we have English language skills, we have available resources very close to us. When you look at it globally, you can see that this is a very powerful thing. When you're in US, where this is a 100K plus salary, all that is like completely unthinkable. But so for them to get 5 people and do something, for some Indian startup guy to get 5 people and do something, you just can see the equation how you can drop your price to a level where you can kill entire market, established market segment, even if you are late arrival, an established market segment, because the quality is the same. Software is software, and you can disrupt the market very easily. So these are things to be aware of. when you're when you're starting a particular company.
Right, right.
That's what I would say.
Thank you so much for such valuable insights, Sanju. That was a really good way to put it. And this is the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for your time. It was lovely talking to you.
Sure. Thank you very much, Ayush.
Thank
Enjoyed
you.
it.